My wife squeezed my wrist under the restaurant table and whispered, "Do not embarrass me tonight." Then she smiled at the judge across from us, like she had not just crushed my hand. "My name is Nolan Pierce. I am 48 years old. I repair heating systems for a living, wear steel-toed boots most days, and have never been good at pretending to be more important than I am." My wife, Serena, was very good at pretending. That night, she had invited me to dinner with Judge Alan Whitcomb, his wife, and her parents. Serena worked as a fundraiser for a legal foundation, and Judge Whitcomb was the kind of man people lowered their voices around. He had silver hair, calm eyes, and a way of listening that made every sentence feel like evidence. Serena had spent the whole car ride coaching me. Do not talk about furnaces. Do not mention your old volunteer thing. Do not order ribs. And please, Nolan, if you do not know a word, just nod. I looked out the window and said, "Got it." I had been saying, "Got it," for 14 years. At the restaurant, Serena's mother looked at my jacket and asked if I had come straight from a job site. I had. A school boiler failed that afternoon, and I stayed until the classrooms had heat again. Serena answered for me. "He did his best," she said. Her father laughed. "Blue-collar charm." I smiled, because a man can learn to swallow a lot when he loves someone who is ashamed of him. For the first half hour, I barely spoke. Judge Whitcomb asked me what I did, and before I could answer, Serena said, "Nolan fixes things. He is very hands-on." "That is useful work," the judge said. "Very useful," Serena said, in the tone people use when praising a dog for not barking. Her mother asked about the foundation gala. Her father talked about donors. Serena told a story about a senator mispronouncing her name, and everyone laughed. Then Judge Whitcomb mentioned a youth center on the east side. "We funded a small legal clinic there years ago," he said. "I always wondered what happened to the witness program attached to it." Serena's hand tightened around her glass. "I noticed because I notice machines before they break, and people are not that different." Her father leaned forward. "Was that the old Harlan case?" The judge's expression changed slightly. "Parts of that matter were sealed," he said. Serena laughed too quickly. "Ancient history. I think everyone knows the basics." Judge Whitcomb looked at her. "Do they?" The table went quiet. I reached for my water. Serena leaned toward me without moving her smile. "Not a word," she whispered. That was the moment I should have been confused. But I was not. Because 12 years earlier, before Serena and I bought our first house, before she decided my past was something to sand down and paint over, I had spent 3 nights sleeping in the back office of that youth center. Back then, I was not just fixing boilers. I volunteered there on weekends because my younger brother had been pulled out of trouble by the same place. I patched walls, installed donated lights, taught kids how to reset breakers, and kept the old security cameras alive with wires and prayers. One winter night, a boy named Mateo came in shaking so hard he could not hold a cup. He had seen something behind a warehouse, something involving a city contractor, cash, and a beating that left a man in the hospital. The adults were afraid to get involved. The cameras outside barely worked. The police report went nowhere. So I did the only thing I knew how to do. I fixed the cameras. Then I made 3 copies of the footage, drove one to the clinic attorney, mailed one to the court under instructions, and kept one sealed in a safe deposit box because the attorney told me, if this gets ugly, proof needs a quiet place to sleep. It got ugly. The case became part of a larger corruption investigation. Names disappeared from public records. Witnesses were protected. People were told to forget what they knew. I was one of them. Serena knew pieces of it because she had helped me open the safe deposit box years ago when we moved banks. She promised never to discuss it. Apparently, promises were only important when they made her look good. Serena was not always cruel about my work. When we first met, she said she liked that I could fix things. Her apartment had a radiator that screamed every morning at 5, and I fixed it with a wrench and a towel while she sat on the counter drinking coffee. She laughed when steam hit my sleeve. She called me steady. For a while, that was enough. Then her career started moving into rooms where people wore tailored suits and spoke in donor language. Suddenly, steady became simple. Useful became unimpressive. My work boots moved from the hallway to the garage because she said they made the entryway smell like metal. My old volunteer plaques went from the living room wall to a box in the closet because they did not match the new shelves. The first time she corrected me in public, it was small. We were at a fundraiser, and someone asked how I spent my weekends. Nolan still helps at that youth place sometimes, she said, then laughed. He is loyal to lost causes. People smiled politely. I told myself she meant it affectionately. The second time, she interrupted me while I was explaining how an old building's heat system worked. Careful, she said to the table. He will talk about pipes for an hour if you let him. People laughed harder that time. I laughed too, because it is easier to join your own dismissal than admit someone you love is teaching strangers how to treat you. By the time we sat across from Judge Whitcomb, Serena did not have to tell me to be quiet. She had spent years training the room inside me. But the Harlan case was different. I had never used that story to look important. I never brought it up when Serena's friends compared jobs. I never corrected anyone who called me just a repairman. The boy had been 15. His mother worked nights at a nursing home. The men involved had friends in city offices, and the attorney at the clinic had looked me in the eye and said, "If your name becomes the story, Mateo becomes a target." So I let my name disappear. I signed a statement under an identifier. I turned over the footage. I answered questions in a windowless room at the courthouse, while a young assistant prosecutor mispronounced my last name and then crossed it out entirely. I went home that night and fixed a neighbor's water heater because life does not pause for quiet bravery. The only person I told fully was Serena. She cried when she heard it. She held my face and said, "I had no idea you carried that." That was before carrying things became embarrassing to her. At dinner, when Judge Whitcomb said the Harlan name, I watched Serena do the math. She knew enough to realize the story could make me look honorable. She also knew enough to realize it could expose that she had been using sealed gossip as social currency. Because 2 weeks earlier, I had heard her on the phone in our kitchen. She thought I was in the garage. "The judge will love the Harlan connection," she said. My husband was adjacent to that whole thing. Adjacent. I stood beside the washing machine, holding a basket of towels, and felt the word go through me. Not witness, not helper, not the man who fixed the camera. Adjacent. That night, I asked her what she had meant. She kissed my cheek and said, "Do not be sensitive. I am trying to make you sound interesting." By using a sealed case? "No names," she said. "Relax." I should have refused the dinner then. But marriage makes you hopeful in stubborn, foolish ways. I thought maybe if I sat quietly, the night would pass. I thought maybe Judge Whitcomb would not mention it. I thought maybe Serena would remember that a real boy had hidden in a storage room while adults argued about risk. Hope can be noble. It can also be denial wearing a clean shirt. Judge Whitcomb set his fork down. "Mrs. Pierce," he said, "how exactly do you know the Harlan name?" Serena waved a hand. "Oh, my husband used to volunteer around those people. He hears stories." Around those people. The words landed harder than her hand on my wrist. Judge Whitcomb turned to me. "Mr. Pierce, did you volunteer at the East Leland Youth Center?" Serena's nails dug into my skin. I gently removed her hand. "Yes, Your Honor." His eyes sharpened. "Were you the man who maintained the security system?" Serena's father chuckled. "Security system? Nolan?" The judge did not smile. "Mr. Pierce," he said, "were you the source of the third copy?" I felt the whole table tilt toward me. For 12 years, I had kept that story small because I was told a boy's safety mattered more than my pride. I agreed then. I still agreed. But there is a difference between keeping a secret and letting someone use your silence as a leash. "Yes," I said, "I was." Judge Whitcomb sat back slowly. His wife put a hand over her mouth. Serena stared at me as if a piece of furniture had spoken. Her mother frowned. "I do not understand." The judge looked at her. "Your son-in-law helped preserve evidence in a sealed corruption case. That evidence protected a minor witness and helped remove 3 men from public contracts. No one touched their food." Serena tried to laugh. "Nolan never explained it like that." I looked at her. "You never wanted me to." Her face flushed. "That is unfair." "Is it?" Her father cleared his throat. "Well, if that is true, why did he stay a repairman?" Judge Whitcomb answered before I could. "Because honest work does not become smaller because powerful people fail to recognize it." That sentence did something to me. Not because it made me proud, because it reminded me I had been waiting years for my own wife to say something half as kind. Serena leaned in. "Nolan, can we not do this here?" I almost smiled. The woman who told me not to embarrass her in public had suddenly discovered privacy. Judge Whitcomb looked from her to me. "Mr. Pierce, I owe you an apology. I knew of your evidence, but I never knew your name. The record used an identifier." "That was the point," I said. "Still," he said, "a debt can be private and still be real." Serena's mother softened first. She looked at my jacket again, but differently this time. "You never told us," she said. You never asked me anything you wanted answered, I said. That was when Serena stood. I need air. No one followed her. For the first time all night, I let myself breathe normally. Judge Whitcomb folded his hands on the table. Mr. Pierce, I need to be careful with what I say here, he said. But I can say this much. That case would have collapsed without the footage chain. Serena's father shifted in his chair. Footage chain? He asked, quieter now. The judge looked at him. Evidence is not only what a camera records. It is who preserves it, who copies it, who prevents it from disappearing when people with money would prefer it gone. I stared at the white tablecloth. For years, I had remembered that week mostly as fear. The humming fluorescent lights in the youth center office. Mateo shaking under a donated coat. The attorney telling me to drive different routes home for a while. The old camera system blinking red while I prayed the hard drive had not failed. Judge Whitcomb remembered it as a chain, a thing that held. His wife, Ellen, leaned toward me. Did anyone ever thank you? I almost said yes because it was the polite thing. Then I stopped. Mateo's mother did, I said. Once, she brought tamales to the center. Ellen smiled sadly. That sounds like a real thank you. It was. Serena's mother, Vivian, touched her necklace. Her voice was different when she spoke. Serena told us you were a maintenance volunteer. I was. She made it sound. Vivian stopped. Smaller, I said. She looked down. Yes. That word should not have mattered, but it did. Someone at the table had finally named what kept happening. Serena came back from the patio with dry eyes and a new expression. I knew that expression. It was the one she used before turning a problem into a performance. I think everyone is misunderstanding, she said brightly. Nolan knows I respect what he does. I looked at her. Do you? Her smile tightened. Of course. Name one student at the youth center. She blinked. I did not raise my voice. I did not have to. Name one kid whose fundraiser you attended. Name one Saturday you came with me. Name one repair you did not turn into a joke when your friends were around. The waiter appeared with dessert menus, sensed the room, and disappeared like a trained professional. Serena's father said, "This is not appropriate dinner conversation." Judge Whitcomb looked at him. Humiliation rarely feels inappropriate to the person doing it. Another silence. Serena's eyes flashed. So now I am the villain because I wanted my husband to act polished for one evening? No, I said. You are not the villain because you wanted polish. You are wrong because you confused polish with shame. She stared at me like she had never considered that I could arrange words without her permission. The judge reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a business card. He slid it across the table to me. The foundation has been discussing a facilities grant for community legal clinics, he said. If you are willing, I would like your assessment of East Leland's building needs. Paid, of course. Serena's mouth parted slightly. There it was. Not revenge, recognition. I would be glad to look, I said. Good. Serena sat down slowly. All the air had left her performance. For the rest of the meal, nobody knew where to put their hands. The desserts came anyway. Mine was cheesecake. I took 3 bites because I had skipped lunch to finish the school boiler. And dignity, I discovered, does not make a man less hungry. Her father looked angry, but not at me. Men like him hate discovering they mocked the wrong person. Dinner ended early. In the car, Serena cried. She said I had humiliated her. She said I made her look cruel. She said I should have warned her. I kept both hands on the steering wheel. You told me not to speak, I said. You knew what I meant. Yes, I said. That is the problem. For 2 weeks, she acted wounded. She told friends I had ambushed her. She said the judge had exaggerated. Then the foundation quietly removed her from the gala committee after Judge Whitcomb declined to attend any event where she was hosting. That consequence did not come from me. It came from the version of herself she had been performing too loudly to hide. The strange thing was, I still wanted to protect her at first. When people from the foundation called, I did not add details. When mutual friends asked what happened, I said, dinner went badly. When Serena's mother left a voicemail apologizing, I waited 3 days before calling back because I did not want to sound victorious. Vivian cried on the phone. I raised her to value appearances, she said. I did not realize I had taught her to rank people. I stood in the parking lot outside a hardware supplier with a box of copper fittings under one arm. She is an adult, I said. So am I, Vivian said. That means I can be responsible too. That was the first apology from that family that did not have a hook in it. Serena did not apologize. She negotiated. First, she said we should present a united front. Then she said I should write a note to Judge Whitcomb explaining that she had been under stress. Then she said if I loved her, I would not let one awkward dinner damage her career. I listened from the kitchen table while the dishwasher hummed behind me. Do you hear yourself? I asked. I am trying to save what we built. No, I said. You are trying to save what people think we built. She folded her arms. And what are you trying to save? I looked around the kitchen. The marble counters she chose because donors might come over someday. The framed abstract print she bought to replace the photo of me and 3 youth center kids standing beside a repaired basketball hoop. The silent, beautiful room where I had spent years becoming less visible. Myself, I said. She looked disgusted. That sounds dramatic. It feels overdue. I moved into the apartment above the auto parts store 3 weeks later. The first night, the radiator clanged like a thrown wrench. I laughed so hard, I had to sit on the edge of the mattress. Then I fixed it. There was freedom in fixing something that did not insult me for knowing how. Judge Whitcomb kept his word. The foundation hired me to inspect East Leland and 2 other clinics. I wrote a plain report. Broken thermostats, dangerous wiring, roof leaks, accessibility issues, estimated costs. I expected someone to rewrite it in prettier language. They did not. At the next board meeting, Judge Whitcomb read a paragraph from my report out loud. He introduced me as Mr. Nolan Pierce, whose practical knowledge has protected more people than most speeches ever will. I was not there. I only heard because Ellen emailed me the minutes. I printed that page and put it on my refrigerator. Not because I needed to become impressive, because some days, when you have been made small for a long time, it helps to see proof that you are not imagining your own size. We separated in September. I moved into a small apartment above an auto parts store. The heating was terrible, which was almost funny. On weekends, I went back to East Leland Youth Center. The building needed new thermostats and a patient hand. One afternoon, a young man walked in carrying a toolbox. He said his name was Matteo. I had not seen him since he was 15. He was 27 now, with steady eyes and a wedding ring. "I heard you were back," he said. "Thought you could use help." We spent 3 hours replacing copper lines in the basement. Near sunset, he stopped and said, "My daughter sleeps safe because you fixed a camera nobody cared about." I had to look away. Some people spend years trying to be admired by rooms that do not deserve them. Then one sentence from the right person gives you back your name. Serena wanted a husband who looked impressive at dinner. I wanted a life where I did not have to shrink so someone else could feel tall. The last time she texted me, she wrote, "I hope you are happy being right." I answered, "I am not happy I was right. I am relieved I stopped being quiet." Then I went downstairs and fixed the heat. If your partner mocked your honest work in public, would you reveal the truth at the table or walk away and let them wonder what they lost?